Instruction in youth is like engraving in stone. The words of another African proverb, which bring us into this episode of the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Garth Williams.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
And we are
Jamaican Dadz.
Welcome to the podcast. This podcast provides a safe and healthy space for us to discuss issues of real concern to our masculinity.
Like you, we have different experience, and that's okay because we're not all dads from similar backgrounds necessarily, but we all care about our children, we all care about our country, and we want to make it better.
That's right. So we just want to provide this safe space so that we can have the essential conversation to make us better husbands, fathers, brothers, workers, leaders, you name the different roles. We all want our men to improve what they do. So that's why we're here for that. We've got another wonderful program on the way for you. In our Dad Try This segment, we've got another cool life hack. You don't want to miss it. And in Fresh to Death today, we get into nail care. Yeah, nail care.
Yeah,
right. We'll be discussing work-family balance. Is it possible? That will come up in our meat of the matter. But before we get there, let's fire off with our opening salvo. This week, we're discussing lessons from an online article entitled Couple's Argument Leads to $100,000 Prize. And this is not Jamaican
Dadz. I can't look you, sir.
I
can't look you, sir. Really.
What are the lessons, gentlemen, to learn from this? A Virginia woman said an argument with her boyfriend turned out to be a lucrative disagreement when it led to a winning of $177,000 US dollars, right?
That irk.
How it work? Europe. Cheyenne Creel of Roanoke, Virginia, told lottery officials that she and her boyfriend Joshua were having an argument recently, and they decided to go for a drive to cool their tempers. It's what and decided to the way got drive out.
Yeah.
Creel said they made a stop at the Nishi food market in Vinton to put gas in the vehicle, and she asked Joshua to get inside and get her a drink and just scratch off some lottery tickets. She said she started scratching the tickets off when they were back on the road, and one of the tickets, a Lucky Sevens tripler game, turned out to be a $177,777 top prize. Wow. We turned right around, she said. Joshua recalled of deciding to abandon their aimless drive and their argument
done
to cash in their prize. So
I love it.
I do.
So question is Owen.
Eh?
No, that's a very
No.
That's another argument.
Yeah.
That would be much more difficult to breeze out.
Who ticket?
He purchased the tickets, but it was her advice.
That's a real challenge. And she do the scratching. Boy.
But they are happy together, and that's fine. Albeit that the picture associated with the article,
she alone.
She is the one with the check.
Yeah.
Right? Paid to the order of
Josh.
Cheyenne Creel.
Josh, sorry, my boss.
Girl, I said money and move on.
That's why she's so happy. That's why she's so happy.
But you know, two things jump out at me. One, I would have done, and two, I wouldn't have done.
Okay, go on.
One, the whole breeze out.
Yeah.
Like for me, if an argument is moving in a certain direction, I strongly believe that you need to know when to just breeze it out. So you know what? I go up on the road. You know, I call on your virgin, them have a drink or whatever, chat, whatever, and just kill the argument and just. Sometimes you need to know. Yeah, not all the time, because sometimes you need to stay and have the conversation. But sometimes you need to know when to just walk it out. But what I found
that they went together.
I
try to understand.
That I wouldn't have done. Exactly. I say, yo, look here. Our
Breeze
tempers
me.
are rising.
Breeze me.
Breeze me.
Breeze.
Yeah.
Well, let's go and breeze
Together. I mean, I
This
understand.
is a good thing, and breeze together. Because if him they go alone or she they go alone and them get the ticket, anyone of them win. I appreciate it. You know?
It done.
No, but I guess, you know, and clearly different people approach conflict differently.
Yeah, trust
but,
me.
you know, it was one of the first things that jumped out at me. I thought, maybe it's not a bad idea, right? So you're not continuing the argument, but you're saying, let us go together and let's go for a drive.
No, but, yo,
Right? Let's go
brother.
for a drive.
Brother, you know what will lead to our next argument? You know you should have taken a left right there, right? No, why you driving so fast? That's a whole other argument. No.
Depends. It
Breeze
depends.
me.
You know what's in the pothole? You know what's in the pothole?
Because the truth is, though, but when you go and you breeze out, the argument not going to wait.
Right.
Wait here, you
No,
know, to come back.
and again, it depends on the nature of the argument
Yeah.
because, all right, so there's a difference between, I believe, a difference in opinion or difference of opinion and an argument, right?
What's the difference?
And for me,
One is longer.
one is
Use longer words. Difference of opinion, argument, you know.
Yeah, and the shorter word or the shorter phrase argument end up being the longer thing.
Yeah.
You understand me? Because lots of times me have done it, we clash all the while. You understand me? We don't view things the same way all the while, which is perfectly natural. But sometimes I learn to choose my battles wisely. And sometimes all I need to do is share my opinion. I don't have to win. And that is the thing with an argument. People feel like them have to win. I must come up. My
Remember
points are better.
No, but
I must come out champion. Rather than just say, boy, me don't see it that way there. But do your thing still. Because here what happened now.
I have a feeling say him do that more
I
often.
find the
Yeah, what? The
More
latter?
times. Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
just-
Most times I do.
I'm done.
9 out of 10
I'm done,
times.
son. No, for me, don't express myself. Me done, you know.
The quicker you learn, there's no winning of an argument with a
Exactly.
woman.
Exactly. And that's just the
Exactly.
thing.
Like, that's a joke that I always tell at weddings as an MC.
Yeah.
Like, knowing
Me
to
too.
nod and smile.
Yeah.
But, no, there's a skill.
It's true.
Because you can't agree too quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You can't agree too quickly.
Can't agree too late either.
You're agreeing to shut me up.
No, you don't, let me tell
Right.
you, the reality.
And I am.
I think
In many cases, I'm
We
agreeing
have to
so
do
that
it
we
at
can
the
just
right time.
done.
like that, especially if it's like a difference of opinion that is leading to an argument. I mean, just about random things that you have a difference of opinion. After I have put out my opinion, I'll carry it for a little while, but you know, me know say,
We can't keep the fire blazing.
yeah, because there's no way we're going to reach a point where they say, okay, I agree, right?
It's not going to happen.
Not
And has anyone ever experienced that in a relationship?
what?
Would a woman admit that you're wrong?
Yes.
Hey,
In
tell us this.
my current marriage,
Here.
in my marriage, coming I'm not
Here.
married again. In my marriage.
Oh, hold on. You don't say just got in trouble. That one said him current marriage. Hold on.
No. My wife has admitted where she was wrong before.
And then at what point she blame you for the fact that she was wrong?
No, she just take it. She just take it. You understand me?
Come
No.
with length term.
Eh?
Length term.
Yeah, no, let me tell you what happened. You see, I think the beauty of... Sorry, these guys are confused. No, they can't relate. They cannot relate. No, let me tell you what happened. No, part of the thing is how me structure my argument them or me do what me I do. Me no make decision based on my emotion, based on how me feel about something. You
Hold
see?
on. So you're trying to use logic?
Right. And that's even more amazing. See? So, you see that makes sense?
Which woman is burdened by logic?
I don't understand.
Anyway,
That was a joke.
me come out of the conversation. I just want to
That was a joke. That was a joke.
educate myself.
joking.
And I know as a woman that
We're joking.
Right.
It's a
Yeah,
joke.
but you see that makes sense or it don't make sense.
Yeah.
You understand me? And there have been a couple of occasions, so it's more than one. A couple of occasions where she go, boy, babes are true. You know what I mean? And it don't come in the form of, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. No. It's just just to concede. Boy, babes, you did right. Or, boy, babes, are true. You see me? And then, like, I don't even know how to react either. I mean, she didn't know how to react. But because you don't get a prize for being right. You really don't get a prize, you know. You really don't get a
What I
prize.
find, a lot of arguments evolved.
Right.
You know, so you can't just say you don't remember.
What
We
you're
are
arguing
arguing
about,
about-
because many times what you're arguing about is not what you're arguing about. You're arguing about something from the last time, so that there's a carryover.
Or somebody's tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and all of us, and especially men, I don't know, we have to work on conflict resolution skills.
Yes.
Right? A lot of us are much more willing to just breeze it out.
Breeze it
Yeah,
out,
Right?
and it
Without
never
the
really
other
gets
partner,
fixed, you know.
without the other partner, without the partner, so you just
It's independent
you know,
breeze.
Alright,
whether we
yeah,
breeze
man.
it out by just shutting off or literally leaving and saying,
That's-
you know what. So, you know, it's something that I think we're really not very good at.
I'm guilty
We
of
have
that. I'm
we
guilty
have
of
to
that.
work on that, and it doesn't get fixed. It doesn't go
I'm
away.
very guilty of that
Right,
because
yeah.
Which
my,
one?
my wife likes to discuss things.
Right.
Me not like discuss things too long. Like, and I think it's a thing with her. I don't know if it's because of her profession, why she's very probing with things. So I am often very wary of even opening the door to answer one thing because it's going to lead
To
to
a number
so
of other
many
things.
things. So, like, whenever I hear, okay, one last thing. Because I'm having all the signs of, I am over this are coming. One last thing. I don't want to address the one last thing because that one last thing is going to last for half hour.
Right.
Jeez. more time. Because for you, things are straightforward and dry and man cut, so forth. But there are so many nuances. And I said it, where men and women relate differently. In terms, I think I'd made allusion to a relationship earlier where, I come home and say, Michelle and Richard broke up. So why they break up? What happened?
Yeah, you just want to
Me don't know.
Them
They broke up, me don't done.
Yeah.
So you didn't ask? No. Me ask what?
And that's tonight's news.
Yeah.
The end. We don't need the opinion show, the analysis, the breakdown,
Commentary.
the commentary, right? So, but you made a very good point, Floyd. Conflict resolution.
Yeah.
A lot of times we find, especially with a lot of the cases you hear in the news, right, of poor conflict resolution that leads to, in some
Tragedy.
cases,
Tragedy.
tragedy. Serious
And the
injury.
argument is not about the argument or the domestic violence or the whatever is not about what it is on the surface.
Right.
It's about an imposition on my identity or my freedom or
Right.
my
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. So on one hand, I think as men and as fathers, we have to work on our conflict resolution skills because clearly we're going to pass on those to our
Yes.
children. But on the other hand, I also believe that women have to be more appreciative of the fact that men
Man, I try.
and that men have feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's not if you decided to go and breeze out. You have made a decision because of probably don't like the direction of the argument, and you understand. So I find a lot of times a woman argues from the perspective that the argument is for them. You understand? So it is not your views really. It's
Theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them to resolve.
They
So-
argue to hurt.
Yeah.
They know that we have feelings.
Sometimes they do.
Yes.
And
They know you have feelings. And they know which one hurt.
But we know that share the money.
Me?
yes.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. We all would share.
Cut.
I
That
don't-
argument-
Hold on. What am I going to
That
find out?
argument, I'm
No.
not
Yeah, you're
interested.
not
How much
interested.
I know.
Did she pay for the
Let me
ticket?
ask a real thing.
Did she
Who
pay
would
for the
get
ticket?
more of the money?
No,
She-
it's
she.
me. No.
60-40, she can't keep me 60. Me done.
No.
Why me not gonna argue over that
Oh.
either? You understand what I'm
I
saying?
care about the
I'm going to
ticket
take
money.
anything she give me.
And that's it for our opening salvo. Solve your problems amicably. Go buy a lot of tickets next time when I disagree. All right, we'll be back with the meat of the matter after this.
Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. I'm Dennis along with Floyd and Garth, and you're in time for the meat of the matter. This week in the meat of the matter, we're looking at a very important topic, not just to parents in general, but dads in particular, because sometimes we get it wrong. And this is the exploring the work-life balance, because sometimes we take our work home, sometimes it's as if we never leave work. And our guest in this conversation is video editor and producer Dameon Gayle. He's with us back again. Dameon, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so this is something that I think that the more honest we are, the more people will appreciate the conversation, because people might feel guilty about the fact that, no, I'm going to find a balance yet. What do you think of it?
No, absolutely. For me, work-family balance is a myth. It does not exist in its truest sense. There's no way you can dedicate half your personal time to your work and equally find the same amount of time to balance your family. There are different days of the week, different times of the month that one will outweigh the other, but it does not exist in the seamless way that the phrase would kind of want to make you think about.
So this search for equilibrium is constant then, every day you're trying. But I think that maybe us as fathers are under greater pressure because we are burdened with this sense of, I have to be this and I have to do that. I have to take care of these things. And, so we're going to have that pressure.
Yeah, for me, it's just the same way of going for a goal, and it's not really necessarily the goal, but the journey towards the goal.
Yes.
It's like life journey. Trying to balance work. As I said before, so there are going to be days that you're up, days that you're down. It's never really a balance. But the balance is really to be consistent, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I have found it very, very hard. I guess it's always been difficult throughout my life trying to balance the things that I want to do with the things that I genuinely enjoy doing, right? So clearly, you want to be out there, you want to work. I generally enjoy spending time with the family, right? But again, there are a lot of pressures. There are a lot of pressures as a man, right, in that breadwinner role, and you kind of feel like you have to go out there and look the bread, quite frankly. And then, depending on the job that you do, so, in my job, it doesn't stop, right? It is
What do you do?
As a representative of the people, a politician, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
And it's different for you, and a lot of politicians are guilty of getting it wrong. Because, and when they retire, we all say, thank you for sharing him or her with us. Because really and truly, the people that you represent sometimes get more of you than the family.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't, it's not, it's one of those jobs that doesn't stop. One of those jobs that it doesn't really disassociate time for work from time for family, right? And you really have to just try and take some time. But because something is always happening, I remember when you serve a constituency as big as mine, as involved as mine, who really regard whoever their representative is and like the concept of having a representative around because of actual time on the ground. So it's very hard. So it's a lot of sacrifice, and oftentimes it's the family who sacrifice because it's missing some of those critical moments being in, and it goes across a lot of different professions, but clearly politics is a little harder.
Yeah, and then part of the reason why Dameon is also here, because I just want to build on what Floyd is saying, because Floyd, as a family man, raising his family, lives with his family, right? His partner is there, his son is there. In one house. He goes there at nights, generally speaking. Right? But yeah, it's the same thing for myself, for Dennis. For Dameon, it's different because Dameon is a single father. A Dameon and the youth. You know what I mean? His son. Remember his son's name?
Dakari.
Dakari. So it's Dameon and Dakari at home with less of a support system than we have in terms of just being able to if you need to leave out early in the morning at 5 o'clock, you can just
you give a heads up.
Yeah, you say, hey Sue, listen, I've got to run early in the morning.
Right.
If Dameon has to leave at 5 in the morning, Dakari in a backpack.
Right.
So, but how does that work with the broader support system?
Right. Well, I have to manage my time around him because I have to section stuff out. What is important, what needs to get done. We need to work. We need to bring in money to make sure things happen. So I would try to facilitate. It's a good thing that my job I can set the time. I can work, right? So like for a video shoot, I would set the time within a time frame that I can allow me to do this amount of work, and then I can get back to him and sort out that old family stuff and thing. If not, and it can't work out that way, then I have to carry him with me.
Yeah.
Right? If not, I have a support system, as I was saying before with my mom. I will ask her to keep him, to help out. You know? So that would be how I would manage, but it's not always smooth. You know?
And you quite rightly point out that sometimes it depends on the work. You know, the work-life balance depends a lot on the work. You know, with the jobs that I've done, I know that, for instance, many teachers, they take home the work. So you're home doing lesson plan, or you're home marking. So I don't have any time for you. I'm doing work, and so it overlaps. In journalism, oh gosh, you know that, some people think, oh, a hurricane's coming. We're all going to be together for the next. No. Journalists, we go out. With the police, it's so difficult. And I have a newfound respect for police officers because it's the only job that you're not allowed to be off duty. So if you're off duty and something happens, you have sworn that you're immediately back on duty, and you face criminal charges if you say, well, I'm off duty, I'm not helping you.
Right.
Yeah.
Not my monkey, not my circus.
Yeah. So I mean, this whole work-life balance sometimes, big up to the first responders, the doctors who leave out in the wee hours of the night and things, and sometimes miss things. But I mean, let's look at what are the priorities that we're trying to juggle, though, and maybe that will help to, see how we can prioritize.
One of the biggest challenges I've faced taking care of my son on my own was this COVID thing. Because now the online classes them. Normally I could drop him off at school, he's 4.
Okay.
So normally I could drop him off
and
at school.
Online class?
Yeah, man. He did. It was the Queen's prep. So.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop. Hey, making that
No,
money.
that's not.
Don't let him distract you.
So then I created this whole system between 9 and 10 and sometimes 10 and 11, which I have to be there. Make sure I have to buy a printer to stay at home so I can print everything. So that was my challenge to always make sure, because most times I would leave in the morning to go to the office to edit, deal with meetings, whatever I have to do. I have to fit in that time. Normally I would have dropped him off at school from 7:30 to 8 and I'm good till about 2 o'clock. Right? No, so this online class was a big challenge just for fitting that 1 hour or 2 hours just to make sure, because school is very important. I have to really be there to make sure so him stay consistent in terms of the learning process and what they're giving at school.
One of my big solutions which has really helped and in creating the balance and ensuring that a child is taken care of, we had to do an extensive search for a good nanny. Right, so I had to get a live-in. Right, it was no if nor but, because again, my partner is a first responder. So when she's on call, it's 24 hours, right? So we had to find somebody who, and I mean, big up yourself, Christine, right? Because we found somebody who, from country, who felt like had some of the same values, because clearly the child's going to be spending a lot of time with that person, right? Because both parents have to be at work. And you see, it's very hard, especially for young professionals, because you're in that stage of your life where you're trying to also make a mark in your job so you can progress, so that you don't have to work for all of your life. So you can, so you can reach a stage where you can say, all right, you're bringing people and you can relax and sit down, right? So one of the big things was to go out and find a nanny living that could really work with us in terms of childcare.
All right. That takes us to the end of the first part of Meat of the Matter as we discuss the work-family balance. We've got Dameon Gayle, video director, with us. Keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts. How do you, as a father or generally as a family, balance work with family time? Use the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. We'll be right back after this.
Thanks for staying with us here on Jamaican Dads. We are looking at the work-life balance, balancing our work with our families. How can we get it right? How can we do it better? Is it even possible? I mean, perfection is an ideal, but I don't think that we should cause perfect to be the enemy of good.
True.
So let's, I mean, if we can get better at it, then I'm good with that. Like, because... do you believe in those kind of sign off? Like, all right, I'm here, I'm putting down my phone, or I'm putting away the devices and sign off.
Yes. I do it at home, especially around mealtime, right? Particularly dinner. Because depending on how we have to move around in the mornings, we don't always get to sit down together like that. But dinner time, no devices at dinner. None. So Mrs. Williams puts away her phone and she cries. I go through a bit of a depression myself to just put the devices away. No tablet, no nothing. Right? And we're fortunate that at our home, we have a specific dining room. There's like a dining room there's no TV on any wall. There's nothing. It's just the table, a break front, the chair them, the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talk. That is when we actually get to kind of talk,
and this is every day or Sunday?
No. Daily.
Yeah.
So at 6 o'clock, or between 6 and 7. Sometimes it's exactly at 6. Once, especially with COVID now, every day at 6. Right? But otherwise, between 6 and 7. So I try my very best to ensure that any engagements I have don't carry me down into that time. Because I'm there for that. I know that everybody won't have the same type of thing. But for us, it's important that we get it done. But then... sometimes, let me tell you, like, it's literally the only time that I have, because depending on what's going on, we just have to take that hour there. And, like, me while I'm eating and having a conversation with the family, like, I'm thinking about all the other things the fires that are burning. But I say, you know what happened? I'm now going to make this be a fire. I'm going to spend this time with my people. Because once it reached 7:01,
I think, for me, COVID has helped significantly, right? So one of the pluses for me and COVID and life is that with the reduced hours and the curfews, right, there's no activities at home earlier, right? And I know Nate fully loved that, 100%. So I think coming out of COVID, I'm going to implement a 1 day a week. Right, that I'm going to lock off 1 day a week. Not lock off completely, but I mean, you see, because we started this flexi working thing, you realize you probably don't need to be at work every day for the week, right? So I trying, but as life start come back to normal. So even this morning the conversation was, so I'm to the 1 day a week. I'm to the 1 day a week. I'm going to say, yeah, man, the 1 day is supposed to be Wednesday, but don't worry. You understand? But what I've had to do, quite frankly, is schedule time. Right? So I've had to literally put time into my schedule. Right? I've had to write in time. So I've had to say at least one weekend each month, we're going to have a family weekend. We're going to do something.
Yes.
So that's what I've had to do. That's the only thing that has kind of worked for me. Because, one of the challenges is that the weekend where people might have a downtime, and I'm sure they might have that challenge too in terms of our work is not a set time, right? So, and especially the weekend when people are down is probably the best time, right? So, in the constituency, the weekend is Sundays is a full-fledged constituency.
Yeah.
So I have to literally carve out a weekend. I try to coordinate as a weekend that, again, my partner has these problems as well in terms of her work. So carve out the weekend that she's free, make sure that I'm free, so we can do a whole family thing.
Yeah, goal setting and time management are two very important parts. Let me tell you, you have to plan and weigh in advance. So you your partner is first responder,
a doctor.
right? A doctor. You are a politician. planning.
The responder.
Yeah. Yeah, so that goal setting has to be way in advance.
way advanced
I never want. I now embrace it. I never wanted to embrace it. Where penciling and writing times for the things. You know what I mean? Thankfully, I have like a one business and I have a one assistant where I help me manage my time better now. I feel like an old man. I say, who has to write in times for stuff? But
that's luxury we used to have where we didn't have to write in time, but with the COVID thing, we have to kind of like really set time. Whereas with the time that we have limited time. And the day I remember during the COVID, I had this big shoot to do, and I wanted to get sunset. And the closing time at that was like 3 or 4, sunset about 5, 6. So now we have to kind of like try to squeeze in a lot more work within a small time frame, you know, and then in between that smaller time frame you have to work, you have to then if you spend time with your child. You see me? So what I've experienced is that it's really weird that during COVID that a lot more people wanted content. So I realized I was more out. It was really different. I was expecting to be home more with my son.
The screen time increased and as a video.
So I was out almost every day. Right? Just factoring the whole school time and thing, because a lot of people was like, oh, yo, need a video for this, need a video for that. I was out there. So it was. When I was expected to have more time now with my son, it was actually kind of the opposite.
Do you think as a single father you face more unique challenges than us who have partners at home?
I would say so, because a lot of times I would really want that balance, a help. You understand? Especially even with the school thing. Like somebody who does deal with that school something like, because me have to play all of the roles them, and plus him want to spend time with me, bonding time. You understand? I have to play all of them vibes. Sometimes don't even want to go in bed without me being there too. You know, so it's a lot. Like I wish me kind of like did have that type of vibe. But also the good side to it is that me and him develop a relationship. Is that we actually can reason and communicate like those stuff. And I said don't have to be like, okay, yo, I am more superior over you or whatever. I can actually talk to him and him listen.
Understand? So part of critical to the balance.
You know, I mean, I couldn't do it without Suzanne being the way that she is, because she's a planner. You understand? She disciplined. So that where I lack certain discipline, she will keep me on my toes and remind me, oh, we have this thing this month end, remember? So you're going to make time for it. You're going to apply for leave or whatever. So like, because you have to commit to it, you know, and it doesn't, the balance is not arrived at by accident. And people have to realize that, like, and you say, write things down, because you're not going to do it instinctively. You're going to just...
Life happens.
Life happens. And, you know, and again, I've come to realization. I went to tell you initially I had it, but listen, there's some things that you just have to carve out and say, oh, these things are non-negotiable. So there's some events that you just need to be there for your child. And again, I learned the hard way.
Hold on, no. You said non-negotiable, and I laugh, because I remember, you know, back in the day. Back in the day, I used to say Fridays are non-negotiable. Me, I'm a bridging them, a drink, or we have par or whatever. Fridays are non-negotiable. I'm not there with no woman who can't respect my Fridays. And then eventually, like, Friday evening, I'm like, home. Are you bridging them? I say, yo, road. And I'm like, no, I'm so come. And then you fall asleep, because, like, every little bit of time is so important. So, like, what is really non-negotiable anyway? And the priorities, like...
I pick Tuesdays now. As my non-negotiable.
But that's important to have time for yourself, though. That you say, all right, look, this is my time.
No, you have to have the me time. The other thing that works, we need a program on me time. So I try and bring the son to work as well. Right, so if you can, you know, bring him and incorporate him. Right, so I've been doing more of that. You know, I bring him to political meeting, him sit down, and him really pay no mind, and then tell me how it's boring. But, you know, I think one clearly gives him an appreciation, You know, so when I say I'm going to a function, I'm going to meet him, he really understand.
Wait,
And he understand the length of time it take.
Yeah.
And like when I come home early, he say, oh, it finished already? Can now grasp,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, what happens there.
Right.
You know what, one thing that concerns me though?
Yeah.
One thing that concerns me is knowing how to just sign off, like compartmentalize.
Yeah, we want to get into that.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, it is because sometimes you say, okay, I'm not going to go out, I'm going to stay home. And then your mind's still on it, or you're in your devices. Like for me, because so much of my work is on my devices.
That's why it's very important to have a partner that we can really relate to where you don't know where to sign off. Because we can definitely relate to where I don't know where I'm not having that extra eye on things.
To say hi, oi.
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
Because from the outside
slipping,
looking
yeah.
in, if you have a partner, it's easy for them to look at and say, boy, no, man, you just need to sleep or whatever. While you have to, when you're alone, it's doing it, it's like you have to make sure that you're regulating yourself.
Yeah.
You know, which is
Very
another
hard.
challenge.
Yes.
Right.
You understand?
And
Good point.
that's we have to. I want to build on that from your point and now to add to what Dameon is saying. The importance of me time, right? There has to be a time when, as fathers,
me
and
time?
of course, men deserve me time. Where's the camera? Let me say it to camera.
Yeah.
Right? Men deserve me time. Men deserve me time. Everyone deserves me time.
Yeah.
You have to have a time when you just say, well, all right, even if it's half an hour for a week, I don't know, you choose, right? But plug out.
True.
Just unplug everything, chill,
Spend some time.
breathe,
Yeah.
deep breathe,
Yeah.
write some stuff down, plan out some things, you know what I mean? And then dive in again.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think, you know, has gotten significantly cut down. And I guess it got all around because the brethren them also now have their own children and
Yes.
them have to try to balance work life and home life. So the brethren time is can be challenging. And I find brethren time really add to the quality of your life quite
It
frankly.
does. It does.
Yeah, especially have some good brethren.
If you have good brethren, that's the next thing.
Yeah. No, man, it's true. So, you know, we
It
keep...
help you balance to know that you're not alone in the field. So
Absolutely.
it make you go back. It's like I go gas station and get gas up.
Top up. Yeah.
Go back.
Because we all encourage and challenge each other, right? As every brethren should do for them other brethren.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we learn too. You know what I mean? Because something you do with Jackson or you do with Nate, like, I'm like, well, probably not Jackson because
Yeah.
but I can learn. I can go, this is interesting. You know what I mean?
I do it all the time.
Right. And even if it's not parenting, it can just be like just general.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
General
No, it's a
things.
good and just think about it. You know, like your college days, and it's a good relief. You understand?
Right.
Sometimes you just will laugh and take your mind off the stresses. Of, like I find when I'm around my brethren, that's when you really unwind and relax, and it can be the fullest version.
And some things that you might have been arguing about before, or you might have argued about before. All right. It's all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that brings out something there. Yeah, man. Sometimes if you're even in an argument or you're in a difference of opinion, sometimes you leave and you get perspective and you come back. Because if you have really good brethren, your brethren will tell you. But you know, you're wrong still.
Yes. Let me check you.
You're wrong still.
You have to call out your brethren.
So in the balance, that have to be included in the work-life balance. If you put some me time, I agree.
Definitely. You basically like freeze up and stress out.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So in looking then to balance, because it's easier for us to find balance, as you've admitted, because because of partnership. You know, is it important to you to find partnership of that kind in order to kind of rebalance?
I see it difficult on my own, but just because I'm able to push through, enough time you might get in a weak moment and say, why I wish if somebody could have just balance. And then sometimes you think about the pros and the cons. I'm a thinker, so I go think all the pros and the cons and stuff. I'm like, okay, I already have it to a certain level. I could go on my own, but definitely more than one person working together, that definitely work. You see me getting a me time. Luckily, my son loves the river and the beach. And me like it too, so
Yeah.
when me go there, so forget my me time, I might get fee me time too. So, man. so that does work out nicely for me, because him love that. And that's a part of my relaxation to just for hear the river flow or the water and everything. I'm good.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, after I'm done go river and if I carry him home now, instead of I go sit down with him and watch Paw Patrol or Lion Guard or whatever, it's for the whole day.
Paw Patrol, Lion Guard, remember those days?
But I like for go get to work now.
Right.
But him still, I'm still a child, so him still expect for me to be around, because I realize him have me like also as his toy too. Like,
Yeah, you are. You're a life action hero.
Right, so it's time for playing, it's time for come around, so sometimes like ready for work. So that's where most of the times I would really want the balance, so I can really focus on work, so I can maintain his life, my life, and stuff like that.
And that's where we're going to have to close it, gentlemen. But some of the big points: goal setting, time management, making that me time, and always seeking avenues for support. That's the meat of the matter in the Jamaican Dadz podcast. Keep the conversation going with the hashtag Jamaican Dadz. When we come back, it's fresh to death and we talk about nail care.
Welcome back to the Jamaican Dadz podcast. If you're just joining us, we are now into a segment that we call Fresh to Death. Today we're looking at a very important topic, Marlon. A very important topic of nail care. Especially as a man, some of the times people feel like, say, oh, me come from country, so me no need for fix up me and them. Or maybe because, persons always had a genetic advantage, them allow them hand and them foot forget bata. What? you notice I just shared it around. You know this? You saw that? I just shared it around.
Shut up. All right, take a closer look at your fingernails. Are they strong? Are they healthy looking? Look at them, guys. Do you see ridges and dents and areas of unusual color or shape? Some nails are less desirable than others. International recording artist Shensia has a song talking about nail care and its importance for men. because of because of how its role in the act of intimacy. Yes, and you don't want any, ladies,
mess up people.
Man and for clean, man and for clean.
And nails feet.
So, at some other point, we'll talk about what's normal or not in your nails, right? But just make sure, say, you nail them, the color consistent. If you see your nail them start changing a shape and them something, then talk to your doctor quick and fast. Zine, if they might get too thin or too thick, Zine, they must separate from the skin surrounding it. The nail bed start look a little weird, swelling or pain around the nails. All them something, they go talk to your doctor quick and fast.
I have
before it's
one
weird nail.
Not dark, but I know why.
All right. Well, yeah. Which is a completely different shit. So some fingernail do's. Keep your fingernails dry and clean.
Yes.
This prevents bacteria from growing under your fingernails. Repeated or prolonged contact with water can contribute to split fingernails. So wear cotton-lined rubber gloves when washing the dishes or cleaning or using harsh chemicals. Keep
It
that in
depends
mind.
what kind of work you do too. If your hands are off.
Right, especially if you feel like you cook whole heap and them, so your hand always in a seasoning or meat and them, so you have to take extra care. Practice good nail hygiene. Keep your nails clipped. Use scissors and them thing there. And
Scissors?
Sorry, manicure scissors. Manicure scissors. And clippers.
Our nail clip.
Right? Or nail clip. So you can keep it simple. Use a nail clip. Trim your nails straight across, then round the tips in a gentle curve. Zine? So not snip. You go right across the nail, like you get one straight line, and then now towards the edges of your nails, you try and get a little curve there.
I think of them round.
Use moisturizer. We're not going to talk about that one too long. When you use lotion, rub the lotion into your fingernails and cuticles too. Apply a protective layer of nail hardener, for example. If you get your manicure and thing, you don't have to necessarily do that, but you can give it a go, right? And ask your doctor about a thing called biotin. Some research suggests that the nutritional supplement supplement biotin might help to strengthen weak or brittle fingernails. Yeah.
Just cut your nail them regularly.
Yeah, man.
Keep
And
on
clean them out.
Yeah.
The other thing is, don't bite your fingernails, don't bite your cuticles. Hang nails, you know, the little piece where kind of
Yeah,
left
when
off.
you tear it off
Yeah.
and it made the whole thing worse.
Yes.
Yo,
yes.
listen.
Know that. And don't use harsh nail care products.
So
And do not ignore problems. Once your hands start look a little weirdish, your fingernails start look a little weirdish or anything, talk to your doctor quick and fast. That's it for your nails. And fresh to death. Up next, it's Dad Try This.
All right, it's now time for our short feature called Dad Try This. And it's a segment where we just share a simple life hack feature for you. Today, we are looking at tips for use in the kitchen. So one of the things that you can do is, well, this is, you know, one of your areas of expertise. I mean, we all cook, but I mean, there are cooks that
No,
And then
when
there's
last Floyd cook?
At some point,
Yeah.
yeah.
Campus was
Mother's
last
Day.
time.
Yeah,
Mother's
Day.
Day, we roll all the
okay.
chef skills.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Man, yeah, the chef of a thing.
Yeah.
Breakfast in bed. Yeah, man, you have to have it in a thing, you know.
Yeah,
know,
man.
Nate
every
did
day.
most of that work.
No.
It no matter who it was, it just matter that it was done. And that, there you
Yeah.
go. You should applaud Floyd.
Yeah.
You should
Why?
applaud Floyd.
Yeah, man, they
Alright.
bull out the chefing skills. Yeah, sometimes.
All right, now sometimes depending on how your cupboards are set up in the house, you might not have a lot of space for all the stuff that you've got, like pots and pans, for example.
Yeah.
Now, what you can do is go to your hardware store, buy some hooks, put them on the inside of cupboard doors, and you can use that to hang some of the utensils that you don't always have enough drawer space for, or you can use it for pots and pans as well. That obviously depends on how close the shelves are to the door, right? Or where the shelves are. So you just do the measurement, right? And then you know which pot and which pan you can hang on those hooks. So that way, you know end up pile up the pot them. And when you want to take out one pot, you have to pull out
beer knife.
a beer knife and pull out 10 things just to get to one,
Okay,
right?
But then Jackson. I mean,
When
tell me you're at this, he's still at the stage where you need to dismantle all the
Everything?
pot-
Everything.
Yeah, man, everything. I make noise and fling it and so forth. Don't worry, you have a good 2 years. It's about up to age 2 before. And get lost in the cupboard and all these things, you know? Like get
Yeah,
locked
man.
there. Don't worry about it.
That's
No,
par for
man.
the course.
Par for the course.
Par for the
real.
course, right? But just install those hooks, hang those pots, hang those pans, some of the long spoon them, some of the weird looking fork them, the spatula, some of the stuff that can't really hold in there. Just make use of the inside door of any of your cupboards in the kitchen. As I say,
Start
once in around that.
So sound like we
chemical.
probably
Right.
should have used all the outside door too.
Well, no, but you've got toddlers traipsing around the
No,
place.
I mean like high.
Oh, yeah, you could probably do that too. You know,
really.
underneath cabinets as well is also another good spot. So if you've got cabinets that give you a certain
enough
amount of
space.
height, then you can always install
Some
hooks there,
hooks and just
you can just hang your pots and your pans in a neat little way. If you have anybody who OCD, you probably might want to make it orderly, so that they don't lose their mind on you. But that's a pretty cool, neat trick for Dad. Try this. All right, guess what?
We're
The
done.
show done.
Hey.
Yeah. We've come to the
Yeah, it's all about balance. The show's about balance.
That's right.
Yeah.
So set your goals, manage your time, and anytime you have a disagreement, go buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
Word.
I think that's pretty much it. We want to hear from you, though. Please send us an email, JamaicanDadzdPodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. On Twitter, it's The Jamaican Dads. Use the hashtag Jamaican Dads to keep the conversation going. We want to hear from you. Follow us with Jamaican Dads, that's with a Z, everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Twitter, remember.
Twitter, The Jamaican
The
Dadz.
Jamaican Dads.
Yeah.
So please like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. So, I'm Garth.
I'm Dennis.
I'm Marlon.
Always Floyd.
We are.
Jamaican
Jamaican
Dads.
Dads.
Take care till next time.